Are we all good with trying to refine what we did yesterday? Or
Sure.
Yeah, okay. All right. So pasuk says, Rabim yichalu pnei nadiv v'chol harei le'ish matan. The many or the eminent, it was machlokas there, will request the presence of the generous person or the nobleman, and everyone is a friend to the man of gifts. Right. So we said, who are the Rabim? Is it the masses or is it the eminent? And like, who cares? Why are the Rabim requesting the presence of the Nadiv? What for? What about the Nadiv limits access to him such that people need to seek his presence? Who is the Nadiv in this context? Who is the Ishmatan? And then what's the relationship between the two halves of the pasuk? Meaning that clearly they seem similar. Something has to do with giving, but like, are these opposites? Are these both good qualities? What determines the way that these people relate to them? Okay, so our best shot from yesterday, I think, was that it's talking about two types of generous people, or two types of generosity, two types of generous people. So the Nadiv is selective in his giving, and he will, and therefore people will have to like request his presence and try to like ask him for stuff or like persuade him to give. And the Ish Matan is someone who gives indiscriminately. And what we said, I think, was that both of those people will, what do we say? What do we say the point is? Or what can we say? I don't know if we did say. Ish Matan, I understand, right? Is that since he's a very giving person, which one of the meforshim we read yesterday says that it doesn't even necessarily mean in what do you call it? In money, it could be in time, it could be in assistance, whatever it is. But everyone is going to like that person because everyone likes to be benefited, and everyone likes the fact that this person has a very goodwill towards them and wants the best for them. So the second half makes a lot more sense. But then I don't remember what we said about the first half. And I also don't remember, I think, did we end up saying, are both halves of the puzzle good and they're just different? Like, what's the relationship here?
One of the things we talked about is that a person who is just like generous without restrictions, everyone likes that person.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's the second half, and that makes sense. I'm not remembering what we said about the first half, or I don't know what the first half is.
Well, I guess the first half, he doesn't necessarily get like close friends. He gets kavod.
Right.
And so I think we actually said that yesterday that it might be actually a barrier to to like close friends.
Yeah. So this is one of the ambiguities, right? Which is Rhea is sometimes used to be a not close friend, like we saw a couple of pasukim ago, but sometimes it means a close, like a close friend, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now here I'm inclined to think that it is not a close friend because for the second half, because it's everyone. And clearly you can't have everyone being a close friend. So it means that people will be like favorably disposed towards this person. And then I think there is it does make sense that Rabim is in contrast to Kol. Rabim, if you take Rabim as to mean the many. So it's many as opposed to everyone. I just don't know what the significance of that is. Let me read one of the meforshim, which is actually unfortunately not on the thing I gave you, Joe. This is the Malbim. Malbim, I think, was which we did not read yesterday, is most similar to what we were saying. So the Malbim says, Rabim yichal pnei nadiv v'chol harei le'ish matan geter hanadiv hu hanosin kafi haroi bizman haroi le'ish haroi. Okay, so the nadiv is someone who gives, like we said, selectively, right, to the proper. He gives the proper amount to the proper person at the proper time. Like he'll give to the poor person at the time of his suffering. Va'ish matan mefazer tamid, but the man of gifts squanders, or is abundantly giving at all times. V'gam la'ashirim, he even gives to the rich. Mitzad midas pazranos, because he has this trait of like indiscriminate giving. Hanadiv ein lo re'im, so the nadiv does not have friends. This is like what Zev was saying. Ki ha'ashirim lo yisro eu imo ki eno nosen lahem matana. So the nadiv is not going to be befriended by the wealthy because he doesn't give them anything. Rak rabim yichalu panav, but the many will beseech his presence. Shehim ha'anim hanitrach v'hanitrachim, and the many here are the poor and those who are in need. V'rak rabim yichalu lo kulam. So many will seek his presence, but not all of them. Rotlomar aniyim v'lo ashirim, meaning the poor but not the rich. Aval ish matan, but to the man of gifts, kulam re'im shalo, all of them are his friends. Aniyim v'ashirim, poor and rich. V'gam yischabru imo derech reus, they will also associate with him in a manner of friendship. Ki reus tuluyim b'hanas atzmo, because friendship is dependent on the benefit to the self. The eno reus amitis, but it's not true friendship. Kunizker el pasuk dal, like we mentioned above in pasuk dal, which is what we said is that it's not true friendship. So this is, I mean, it sounds like he's doing kind of like not a cost benefit analysis, but he's pointing out like benefits and detriments of each. So the person who gives in a targeted way is not going to have as many friends, and the only people who will be drawn to him are the people who are poor, because those are the only people he gives to. The ish matan will have a lot of friends, but they're not true friends. So this is the most this is the most elaborate pairs we've seen. The problem we had yesterday is no one was saying anything in terms of like spelling out the idea. They were just kind of like saying the facts. So can we get an idea from this? And I don't even know if this is in line with our approach or not, but it was the closest thing that I saw.
It sounds like he's talking about the pragmatic benefit of not giving pragmatically.
The pragmatic benefit of not giving pragmatically, meaning the pragmatic benefit of the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the pragmatic benefit is you're going to have a lot of people who are utility friends, right? Okay. That I can get on board with that. So then what's the first half saying? It is interesting, by the way. Okay, maybe this is an idea. I don't know if this is what he's saying, but this is an idea I'm getting here. So if you look at these two people, okay, it looks like the second guy, the Ish Matan, is it's going to be easy to think he's taking the right approach because look at all the people who like him, you know. But the first, I mean, in terms of an act of tzedakah, I think the first guy is better off in terms of the way the Malbim is saying it. Like, in other words, the way we were saying it, it's talking about the midah of an ish matan. Malbim seems to be focusing on the actual behavior. And in terms of the behavior, I think the nadiv is better because he's actually giving to people who need. He's not just like squandering, the money and and let's do a thought experiment. Let's say they have the same amount of money, right? So who is doing more good? The nadiv, because he's giving to poor people, right? Not the ish matan who's giving to everyone. So I think it's an interesting thing where, like, if you look at them, it's going to look like the nadiv is going to like pale in comparison to the ish matan because everyone loves the ish matan, but that's not necessarily indicative of like who is doing the best tzedakah. The person who's doing the best tzedakah is giving it, making sure that the people who need it get it in the right amount and when they need it. So I think that's like an idea. I mean, let's try to universalize it a little bit because I feel like this is going to be about more than just tzedakah. But you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. Actually, Rבינו Yona in Avos says that when a person who gives to just gives to, like, the people, that's tzedakah. But Gemil Chasadim is prioritizing those who are more deserving of over those who are less, and being like analytical about how you're giving.
Interesting.
And he says that that's a higher level than tzedakah.
Yeah. All right. That stands to reason. Yeah.
But what's the practical benefit of being like giving better tzedakah?
So I don't think that's the subject of the pasuk. I think that's the premise of the pasuk. I mean, we could discuss that, but I think okay. Well, I mean, I'll try to answer that briefly. Right? Is that like the whole point of money is to use it for good, So like if you are, like if you're giving money in accordance with the needs of the recipients and the needs of the system, that's going to, of course, be better for them. It's going to be better for the system that you're in, and therefore it'll be better for you. It's going to be better for your perfection in terms of like the way you relate to money. Like you're reinforcing this idea that money is the purpose of money is to facilitate good. Whereas if you're just indiscriminate, you're not really like practicing that trait, so again, I'm sure you could go on with that, but like I think the point of the pasuk, this is what I'm trying to get at the heart of the pasuk here, is like you could just say that there are two types of givers, the nadiv and the ish matan. But our pasuk is introducing friendship into this and saying, well, many people will flock to the nadiv, but everyone will be friends with the ish matan. And I'm saying that that's a trap. I'm saying that that's not indicative of the fact that the ish matan is doing a better act of tzedakah. And I think the Malbim is like alluding to that when he says that that it's not real friendship. Like that's what I mean by the trap. Like he's gonna have a lot of these people who like him, but that's not real friendship. And I'm saying that the idea is going to emerge from the combo of these two topics: proper and improper tzedakah giving, or like higher level and lower level tzedakah giving, and like the impact on your social circles. And I want the idea to emerge from those two. Like that's what I'm thinking here.
Maybe he's like, maybe the pasuk is, like I'd say normally in the pasuk will tell you a benefit.
Yeah.
Here it's warning you away from a false benefit.
Yeah. Right. I sense that as well.
Yeah, and so telling you that the like this this phenomenon is not a this phenomenon that seems real is not actually.
Right. See, I'll give you an example of this, and this is not in the localized realm of the pasuk, but I think you see this a lot in politics with the types of promises that politicians make, and like you can look at maybe an example of this would be like the left, the more left-leaning aspects of the Democratic Party of like free college for everyone. Well, of course everyone's going to like you if you give free college to everyone, but does that mean that you're utilizing the taxpayers' money in the manner that is best for the system? Like or does it mean that like what effect is that going to have on the actual quality of the colleges? Like we all know, or actually not enough people know, that very few problems in education are ever solved by just throwing money at it. Like that usually makes things worse, if anything, So like, but yet it's a very popular notion of like, we're going to benefit everybody, and so everyone like will clamor around that, but that doesn't mean that that's intelligent giving, or let's say, for example, like, and I'm not saying what should or shouldn't happen, because this I don't have an educated view on, but let's say like, a lot of talk about stimulus checks, obviously, right? Of like, we're going to give everyone $2,000 or everyone $600, but not everyone, because like you have to be in the bracket. Okay, so let's look at that. Is that going to make you popular? Yeah, of course it's going to make you popular if you're just giving out free money, right? But is that actually like the best place to put the money? No. And of course the problem in America is no one knows where the best place to put the money is, or no one can actually like get things done. So like I'm just using this as an example of like the second half of like, you cannot judge the quality of the tzedakah based on how many friends it wins you, because that might not actually be indicative of the actual best act of tzedakah, and the friendships are not necessarily real. They're tied to the utility of it.
I'm still like unclear of why like giving good tzedakah is like a Mishlei. It seems like not a Mishlei thing, like maybe a Pirkei Avos thing, or like something else about like perfection of your midos and stuff. Well, to give the best tzedakah.
So I urge you to listen to the Monday night Mishlei shiur on 10/2. I'll try to remember to send that to you, which was about let me just refresh your memory of the pasuk here. I'll recap the main idea, but it was 10:2 and 10:3 really. Lo yo ilu otros resha utzedaka tatil mimaves. So the treasuries of wickedness will not benefit them, and tzedakah saves from death. And that was really, I think, where we talked about the Mishlei view of tzedakah, which is the Mishlei tzaddik. So tzedakah deoraisa is giving the recipient what they need, and that's physical needs and circumstantial needs and psychological needs. You know, like not just food and clothing, but also like getting married, and also like if they were used to a certain standard of living, like meeting that standard of living. So it's a full assessment of what is good for the person, for the recipient, and then you part with your own money in order to fulfill that need, because you are both essentially the same. You know, you're both parts of the system. So tatil mimaves, the way we explain that is that I mean, we explain it on several levels, but one of the levels is that this trains you to a certain way of relating to your own money, where you're relating to money as a means of satisfying, of taking care of human needs in the framework of being a human being. And the Russia who is related to money in a fantasy-based way, who's not looking at his own needs and just like pursuing money as an end in and of itself, or money for the sake of kavod, or money for the sake of power, that is going to fuel a way of relating to human needs that leads to destruction. So tzedakah is practicing the responsible taking care of human needs, which is good for you, because it's going to change your own spending habits, and it's also good for the society you live in. And the reason why the Mishlei society cares about the society is that the way how you relate to the society, the quality of the society around you and the system that you're a part of will affect you. And doing what's best for the system is going to ultimately be best for you. It's just that the tzaddik is not motivated by that in a particular way. Meaning, it's not like he's only going to do something good for the system when he sees a particular benefit. He knows that if the system is good, then this will ultimately be good for everyone, including himself. So it's a selfish motive, but it's not an immediate selfish motive. Yeah, I think the example I gave in that shiur, and this is not an example of tzedakah, but just an example of the what's best for the society, is like, and this is a little bit off topic, but like, because it's really going to what the purpose of justice is. But like, actually, I don't want to go too far afield. Is that like, I mean, Zev, the reality is that there are dozens of pasukim in the Mishlei that talk about tzedakah, and the fact that we haven't had them other than this one in 10, like that's what I mean. I don't think this is the place where our pasuk here is not the place where it's telling us what is the benefit. What's the Mishlei opinion of giving tzedakah? I think the premise of this is that tzedakah is demach soro asher yachsar lo, and giving according to the need. And there are many other pasukim that deal with why that's good, but this pasuk is just taking it as a premise that is the proper way of tzedakah. So it's a good question you're asking, just not going to be addressed through this pasuk.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I think that's the idea, though. I think that's the idea, is that like you cannot measure the level of tzedakah based on the popularity of the tzedakah, or the popularity of the giver. And that's obviously true for things other than tzedakah as well, but tzedakah really illustrates it because most friendships are based on utility, Okay. Any other points on this, or should we move on to the next pasuk and start doing tomorrow's pasuk now?
I'm good with this.
Okay, good. All right, so let's go on to tomorrow's pasuk. Okay, tomorrow is, or I guess now today, 19:7. Yep, more stuff about money and poor people. Okay, kol ache rash seneuhu, af kimereehu rachaku mimenu, meradif amarim lo hema. All right, and you can see there's a creek sieve here, right? So it's lo with a vav is the way we're supposed to read it, and it's written though with a aleph. So this is a hard one to translate. What do you say?
Where's the breakup of the two halves?
Good question. Let me look at the Tamim. After mimeno. After mimenu. Let me just put a comment in there. Yeah.
All of the brothers of a poor person hate him, and even his friends distance from him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the hard part to translate now.
A chaser of statements.
Yeah.
To him is I don't know what Hema it means.
They will be. To him, they will be. Yeah. Okay. And I just to point out, I don't know grammatically if this is just another acceptable form, but I would say rodef is a chaser. Miradef, I don't know if that's just another like nuanced form of chaser, or if it means someone who causes statements to be chased. Miradef is like I just don't even know.
A statement chase causer.
A statement chase causer. Yeah. Okay, so Sadigon says, so there was no Matsus on this, I believe, or no Matsus Tion. Sadigon says, Timsa, you will find, ki rabim me'ache harash son imoso. Actually, I'm going to type this out here in case it's different. You will find that many of the poor person's brothers hate him. Okay, so he's saying, it's funny he changes it to many, right? Because it says kol. So I guess he doesn't like that. Kol shekain shekama mere'av misrachakim mimeno. All the more so will many of his will a number of his friends distance themselves from him. Vivakish mehem devarim ve'enam nisagim, and he will ask them for things, and they will not be attained. So that's I don't know exactly how he's getting that from the second half of the pasuk, but he sounds like he's saying that the Muradef Amarim sounds like he's saying he will pursue them with statements, and the statements are requests. And then it sounds like I don't know. It sounds like he's saying it really is lohema. They will not they won't come to be. I'm not sure. We'll look at the English in a second, but then the Targum says kulahon rachamoy de miskena sanyan le. So all of the friends of the poor person hate him. Va'af chavroi rachakim mineh, and even his friends will distance from him. Ika detarich b'miloi lo sharir. Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to look it up right now, just in the interest of time. Maybe I'll look it up tomorrow. Article says, what was that?
He translates it as well as law, but he says
Say
low.
again?
He says low with an
Oh,
O.
he said, yeah, you're right. He does say low, yeah. Okay, article, all of Pauper's brothers hate him. Surely his friends withdraw from him. Though he pursues, brackets, them with words, the words remain his. So though he, Muradif Amarin, he pursues them with words, Lohema, they will remain his. Plain shot means they won't listen to him, which is very similar to Sadigon. Living Knox says, all of Pauper's relatives detest him. How much more is he shunned by his friends? So that's kind of like Sadigon is the Kolshkain. He chases after them with words, but they are his alone. So that's also like the art scroll. And then Alter says, all a poor man's brothers despise him even more. So it looks like they're all learning off as like a Kolshkain. So not. I mean, I that's different than even, I think. But all poor man's brothers despise him even more. His friends draw back from him. They are not pursuers of sayings. In brackets, they are not pursuers of sayings. I mean, that's a little hard with the Muradif being singular here. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna just let's just stick with our translation here, and keep Sadigon in mind. Yeah. Okay. So hold on just a second here.
Targum has off as just off.
He has off as just off. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. You know what? I got to start a new habit, and not. I got to save this as a different. I'll do that later. Fine. Okay. I have to rethink my my file thingies. Okay. Yeah. So hold on here. By the way, just a side question. How is the squealing of the mic today?
Yeah, I don't hear it at all, really.
You don't hear it? Okay. And then, Joe, can you just talk? And then you guys tell me if you can hear him.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moderately quiet, I'd say. But
Okay,
not,
and then tell me if this changes either aspect. So did that change the squealing?
no.
No,
And then Joe talk?
Can you guys hear me now?
it's a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. So I did a bunch of tests yesterday with someone else. I have no idea what's been causing it and how to predict it, so can't control it. All right. Anyway, so what are the questions here? Did we have something here about like we definitely had something about his friends separating from him, right? Recently. Let's look. We had that with in 1904. Hon Yosef Reim Rabim, wealth adds many friends. Vidal me re'ehu yipared, and a poor person would be separated from his fellow. And we theorized there that it meant that either they don't identify with him, they don't want to identify with him because that brings pain, or there's a practical consideration of like they don't want to be around him because he's going to cut into their ability to like get money from other people, or I think there was one more idea also. So we have had that before. And there we said that the Re'ehu was either people who used to be friends with him when he was not poor and then he became poor and then they separated from him, or it's Re'ehu Hadal, or it's someone who is poor like him will separate from him. So here it sounds like I'm inclined to say it means like a person who became poor, because actually no, I'm not sure. I mean, something about the Rachakumi menu, if they were his friends, like in other words, that to me seems to imply that they were his friends and then something happened and he's poor now and then they're separating from him. Otherwise, why would you call them his friends? Unless you're just saying that it's that it is other poor people. I mean, the key point that this is adding here is the second half, right? So the question is like, what statements does he attempt to pursue them with? Like, why does he think this will help, and why doesn't it help? And then obviously the questions are, why do his brothers hate him? And especially, this is kind of, again, I know we're not trying to think about this from another pasuk, but we had the pasuk before about the palace bolt, which was, let me get this here. That was in the previous parak, I think. Wasn't it? Or was it in this? Yeah. 1819. Ach nifsha mikrias oz umidyanim kivriach armon. So a wrong brother is as strong as a fortress, and quarrels are like a palace gate. One of the ideas we said there was that like brotherly love is very strong. Was there another one? Hold on. Was there another brother pasuk? There was, but not the one I was thinking of. There's another one that says, Ish reim l'hisroya v'yesh ohev davik me'ach. Yeah, we also talk about brotherly love there. There's another pasuk elsewhere in Mishlei that says like a brother is born for sorrow, which seems to imply that like if you are in a bad situation, then you can depend on your brother. So like that, I'm just like bolstering this question: why do his brothers hate him? You know, given the fact that like brotherly love is like a natural thing. So like, in other words, how does his state of poverty override the natural fraternal love? Yeah. And then who are these friends? Meaning, were these genuine friends? Were these what do they call them? Fair weather friends? Fair weather friends. Who and then what's the scenario? Okay, meaning like, did this person become poor? Was he always poor? If the latter, why were these people? What was his relationship? What was his relationship with these friends? Yeah. And then again, the general derech with the Greek sieves is like, or at least according to the Rביno Yona, is the is like an additional layer of perush. So like we read it as lo with a vav, but the lo with an aleph is like cluing us in on another nuance of the idea. So what can we infer from the Greek sieve? I guess I should say, because I don't know what the background is of anyone listening to this, that this is a Greek sieve is when the written Tanakh has the word spelled in one way or has one word, and then we have a Masorah, an oral tradition that you read it another way. So here it's written as lo, meaning not or no, but we read it as lo with a vav, which means to him. I guess according to Sadia Gaon, we can ask, what is the Kol Shekain? According to Sadia Gaon's reading of Af, what is the Kol Shekain? What is the all the more so? Yeah, the Maradi Famarim is very weird. I mean, I understand Sadia Gaon is good, is he'll ask them for things. And it's funny because this almost goes against, it doesn't go against, but like, I mean, the previous pasuk that we just did was talking about, the Nadiv will give to the poor. So like, if this guy's brother or friend is a Nadiv, then this wouldn't apply. Like, in other words, this seems to be a certain type, at least according to Sadia Gaon, because Sadia Gaon's saying that he's going to ask and he's not going to get. Mm-hmm. But if this guy's a Nadiv, then of course he's going to give him. That's what a Nadiv is. So that seems to imply that this is a certain type of brother or a certain type of friend.
Even though the beginning of the pasuk says kol.
Yeah, and that might be part of why Sadia Gaon is Sadia Gaon doesn't take much stock in that. All right, I have to go today. It's Wednesday. All right, so we'll have to pick this up tomorrow. All right, see ya.
Thank you.
Yep.